All right, good evening. I'm Russell Wolfkiel, Navy Public Affairs Officer and graduate student here at San Diego State University. So last semester when we had to come up with our research ideas, we all brainstormed for topics that we would be interested in doing research on. So the topic that I went with was credibility and how credibility can affect message acceptance more in this modern age with social media and that sort of thing.
Hi, my name is Laura Karamova. I'm a first-year student here at San Diego State University, first-year graduate student. I entered the Mass Communication Media Studies program because I'm very interested in animal welfare. And I believe that I'll gain the skills here that I need in my career to really put those animal rights issues into mainstream media.
My name is Scott McCann. I'm one of the two Coast Guardsmen who are in this program. And I was also interested in animal rights and animal welfare like Laura. And there's a fourth member of our group in Dr. Dozier's class that was mentioned, and her name is Tara Volz. And what she was interested in, how fringe ideas become mainstream. So we wanted to synthesize all of our interests into one research project, and what we came up with was studying how source credibility on social media leads to mainstream acceptance of a fringe idea.
Our study is based on the agenda setting theory because it's an issue salience theory. Fringe issues usually start out in alternative media before becoming mainstream. So we want to focus on that, on alternative media. We want to expand agenda setting into basically platforms like Facebook because users themselves are becoming gatekeepers, and there's a rise of citizen journalism. The breakdown of traditional gatekeepers, like journalists, really allows fringe issues to get off the sidelines and get into the mainstream media. Another theory that we used was the social cognitive theory because it's based on observational learning. Basically, people tend to adopt new ideas and even change their behaviors from people that they're most like, so their close family and friends, and this led us to our hypothesis of social media endorsements such as close family and friends will be more influential in message acceptance on Facebook.
So we tried during our literature review to find an instrument that measured what we are calling mainstream acceptance of a fringe idea. We couldn't find anything, and Dr. Sweetser is big on using existing instruments. And so what we did was we synthesized 5 different instruments that were already in existence into operationalizing our definition of mainstream acceptance of a fringe idea. And those were credibility, attitude, issue involvement, information sharing, and PR. I keep wanting to say public relations, but it's problem recognition. So we said that if you score higher on all those things, then more than likely you are going to accept a fringe idea into the mainstream. And the way we ran the experiment was that we we did it on Qualtrics, and we used mTurk. And what we did was we employed a video, and the video was the same. Everybody saw the exact same video. It was a 2-minute production put on by the cause organization Mercy for Animals, and it basically depicted the intelligence of animals, and at the end it said, "Leave them off your plate." And then we had a social media endorser before the video say the exact same message of, "Hey, animals are important. I didn't know they were so smart." And then what we manipulated in our dependent variables, which we each have an instrument to measure each one, was the source of that endorsement. So we were interested in seeing how the independent variable, the source, played out in our 5 different instruments. And so the sources, depending on what group you were in, were either Brad Pitt as our celebrity contact group, or it was an unknown contact, and we just came up with a random name of Pat Fropp, or as a credible contact. And if you're in that group, we had previously asked you in that experiment to think of somebody who is credible on your social media stream. And then if you're in a control group, then what we had you do was not even see the endorsement, but go directly to the video. Then once you watch the video, we employed the 5 instruments, and we measured actually 2 different issues. One of them was recognizing animal rights as a way to, as a problem that animals have being raised for food and problems that they face with that. And the other one was following a vegetarian diet to help protect the animals. And then, like I said earlier, we employed it on Amazon mTurk using Qualtrics because we wanted to get the results in time for the IPRRC.
So we gathered our data and we analyzed it using SPSS. The first thing we did was to see if our manipulation check actually played out so that we could see that if our participants actually perceived that they were in either the credible contact group, celebrity contact group, or unknown contact group. So our everybody, we had very good reliability with that, with an alpha of less than 0.001. So everybody did perceive, well, the majority of the people did perceive that they were in what group they were in. Next, we looked at the reliability of our indexes to see if they were actually reliable the way we used them. And again, we found we had very good reliability with our indexes with an alpha of 0.9 to 0.96 for all of the indexes. So we had very good reliable measures. So then we got on to measuring how we did. And so the first thing we found was that our independent variable hadn't played out. So that is to say that people who were in the credible contact group, who had personally identified someone that they felt was credible in their Facebook family, that group didn't find their contact any more credible than the people who were in the unknown contact group who saw a message from Pat Fropp, or the celebrity contact group who saw a message from Brad Pitt. So with that, we were a little bit discouraged, but we continued on. We analyzed the rest of our indexes. And again, we didn't see a lot of variation based on the group that they were in, except for in one case where the attitude towards the vegetarian diet, the people who were in the celebrity contact group ended up having a more favorable attitude towards the vegetarian diet than people that were in the credible contact group. So that was the only statistically significant finding that we found. So we thought that was interesting as well. So we dug a little deeper and we did a Pearson's correlation. And what we found was that indeed there was a correlation between the perceived credibility of the endorser and the perceived credibility of the credit cause organization, as well as correlation with all the other indexes. But because of our independent variable not panning out, we weren't able to point any causation in that. There was just a correlation.
Our post hoc analysis also revealed that women were more likely than men to accept both issues of adopting a vegetarian diet and animal rights. And our study also revealed that people that identified as vegetarian in the study were more likely to accept the issue of animal rights. We also, as in any study, we had limitations. The first limitation was the artificiality of using Qualtrics and MTurk versus working directly with Facebook, because people had to imagine a Pat Fropp or a credible contact such as their close friend. That's the first limitation. Another limitation was possibly some bias against using Brad Pitt as our celebrity. Maybe using a different celebrity would have yielded different results in our study. As our third limitation was we had a timed video. Our video was roughly about 2 minutes long. Most people don't watch a full 2-length video. And our last limitation, the fourth limitation, is our content from Mercy for Animals. The video might have been so engaging that it kind of overshadowed our manipulation. And then I'll go on.
So if we were to make future recommendations for further studies, we would say if we're going to manipulate or study the manipulation of the endorsement, then we would make the message a little bit more simple. Our message was a video message, so in the future we just use a text message, because that's not actually what we're interested in. And then we would, as Laura said, we would conduct the experiment on Facebook because that's what we're interested in. We just didn't have the time to pursue a partnership with Facebook to get our study done on time. And then the third thing that was a little bit bigger than our experiment was thinking about agenda setting theory. And in our literature review, we noticed that it didn't really apply to the new world of social media as we saw it. So we think a little bit more research could be done on the agenda setting theory.
So the bottom line question here is, what does this all mean to a public relations practitioner who's working for a cause organization? And what we found was that if it doesn't really matter if you've got the funding to go hire a celebrity, or if you are only going to be doing grassroots activism type thing, and that's how you're going to get your campaign out. Either way, you're going to get the same kind of credibility of your messages when you get it out there. So if you execute a well-planned grassroots campaign, instead of having a celebrity with a large audience, then you should be able to get the same kind of effect when you put your messages out. So the other thing we looked at was credibility, and it seems as though there's not a whole lot. The traditional methods of measuring credibility aren't holding up very well, at least they didn't in our study. So there might need to be more research done on how credibility is measured. And with that, we would be glad to take any questions.